The family scapegoat is often the person who gets blamed when things go wrong, while the deeper problems within the family remain hidden. Instead of confronting dysfunction, conflict, or unhealthy behavior, the family places the responsibility on one individual. Psychologically, this can serve a purpose. By creating a problem person, everyone else gets to avoid accountability. If the scapegoat is blamed for the tension, then nobody has to ask what is actually happening in this family. Interestingly, the scapegoat is not always the weakest person. Sometimes they are the person who notices the dysfunction first. They may question unfair treatment, challenge contradictions, or refuse to follow unhealthy family patterns, and that can make them extremely uncomfortable for everyone else. Over time, the scapegoat may begin to doubt themselves. They might constantly apologize, over-explain their decisions, or feel guilty for setting normal boundaries. They may even start believing the negative labels they've been given. But here's the important part. Being blamed does not automatically mean you are responsible. If you're finding value in this message, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. More conversations like this are coming, and you don't want to miss them. One of the biggest psychological effects of being the family scapegoat is hypervigilance. You become constantly aware of everyone's mood because you've learned that anything can suddenly become your fault. You may walk into a room and immediately wonder, what did I do wrong? As an adult, this can affect friendships, romantic relationships, and even your confidence. You may tolerate disrespect because you're used to believing that you're the one who needs to change. Healing begins when you separate responsibility from blame. You can acknowledge your mistakes without accepting responsibility for problems that aren't yours. You can love your family without accepting unhealthy treatment. And you can set boundaries without being a bad person. Sometimes, the person labeled as the problem is simply the person who stopped pretending that everything was okay. So if you've been the family scapegoat, remember this. You don't have to spend your entire life proving that you're not the person they decided you were. You are allowed to understand your story, break unhealthy patterns, and build a life that isn't defined by your family's expectations. And sometimes, healing begins with one powerful realization. Maybe I wasn't the problem. Maybe I was simply the person who refused to stay silent. Another important part of healing is learning to trust your own perception again. When you've spent years being told that you're too sensitive, too difficult, or always causing problems, it can become difficult to recognize what is actually healthy. You don't need everyone in your family to agree with your version of events before you're allowed to protect your peace.